You know, the thing that kills me about it, though, bringing up The Rock, is that he's great. And I think the individual character of Moana's good, but I don't know them together. I don't know. There's been so many other like buddy things that Disney's done where they have these sort of two main characters that kind of play off each other. You know, you have Tangled, you have Frozen, you have even Big Hero 6 with Baymax and Hero, Zootopia. You know, I feel like those
same size difference.
Right.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. The chemistry between those two wasn't the best. Can I ask a question?
It was a little awkward, yeah.
Yeah, and this is something I've been wanting to discuss.
About the movie?
Not just the movie, but about Disney animation in general, but mainly focusing on this movie. I want to piggyback off of what Andy just said about the chemistry between Maui and Moana. My question is the Disney movies that we are watching now, have they become sexist? And I'm not talking about sexist. Like, we know when Disney started out, females are portrayed as looking for a man that would just solve all their problems.
Snow White's song, you know, I'm waiting for the man I love to find me, and I'm waiting and I'm helpless.
I think the pendulum has swung the other way. So if you look at Moana, the men in this movie, the father is the one guy preventing her from going off and doing what she wants to do.
So you think they're antagonistic?
Yes. The grandmother is the one. And there's no villains in this movie, by the way. But so
not really, no.
The villains, the villains are really the men.
You won't count the coconut monster?
Well, I mean, can
I
you
don't think
tell
it's
what
gender.
sex the coconut monster was?
If you count Taka, technically that's a woman.
She's
That's
a woman,
Right.
but she's a villain because a man took her heart.
I think we need some Destiny's Child playing over this or something.
I'm a survivor.
So what I submit to you is that the dad is portrayed as a villain, not directly, but kind of indirectly, because he just flat out dismisses. No, there's no reason for you to go beyond the reef. You're just not doing it. And not only is the grandmother saying go, but they even include a scene where the mother helps pack her so she can go. So the grandma's good. The mother's good. The dad is portrayed as the one bad guy who won't let her do what it's calling her to go do. In Maui...
But wasn't the backstory for that about the father portrayed as far as why he was like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he killed his own best friend.
Right.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying, is that...
The wrong kid died.
The men in this... Maui is portrayed... Again, he's given a sympathetic backstory as well. But none of this happens without Maui wanting adulation, so he steals the heart. And who helps put Maui on the right path to being Maui again? Moana. Moana is on a journey to try to find herself. And she finds herself by herself, maybe you could argue with the help of her grandmother. Maui needs Moana to help him find him. Kind of like Flynn Rider needed Rapunzel to help him find him. Kind of like Frozen, where Kristoff needed Anna to help him get beyond him, because men need a woman to help put them on the right path. I'm saying these movies have gone in the direct opposite direction. Am I right or am I wrong?
And just to piggyback off of that, for anybody thinking about, and not just here, but anybody listening, thinking about it has something to do with appealing with the number of ratio of women to men in the world, saying that there might be more women. As far as the latest 2014 figures, it's 1.014 to 1. So it's pretty much dead even, so you can't make that argument.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thoughts?
I'm trying to think. I'm going through the catalog of all of them since like 2010 when they stopped doing hand-drawn animation.
Okay.
Well, that's the problem right there. There you go. That's what it is.
even WreckIt Ralph, who's the duty head?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Because it's always a male and a female.
It's one.
In 'em.
The female
Well,
is
that's not just Disney.
smarter.
Though. That's society now.
Well, I was going to say, it's kind of like 90s sitcoms, right?
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the dad on the sitcom. That's the dad on everything. I mean, that's just,
stuck in the middle on the
it's not
Disney
just
show?
Disney.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Have we gone too far in the opposite direction? I'd like to hear a female's view on this.
Oh, thanks. That's not really directed at anybody
Since
here.
you're the only woman in the room.
I mean, yeah.
And since I'm a girl on the inside, Danny.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.
This is actually a debated point, but I do see this as a Disney princess movie.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So I would still consider this, and it's a wide
Even though there's no
interpretation.
prince.
Especially because there's no prince.
Okay, I'm anxious.
I'm thinking this is all just part of that pendulum swinging the other way. I'm not saying Disney's got a lot to make up for. I am kind of saying that Disney's got something to make up for, and maybe they are overcompensating a little bit. But I don't see Maui as a weak character at all.
I'm not saying we.
I'm not saying, but I don't see him because he's part of that journey with Moana. She doesn't get there without him. And he doesn't get there without her. I see them working together. Now, she may be the catalyst, but I just can't go so far to say as Disney is vilifying men.
Who's the moral compass? Is it
Moana.
Maui? Okay.
I say it is
The ocean.
Moana who
Okay.
is the moral compass.
It's the ocean.
It's the ocean.
Entangled.
It's the tattoo.
Okay, Entangled. Who's the moral compass?
The lamps.
The chameleon.
In that movie, it's almost both of them. It's the combination of them together because she is so naive and he's so jaded. So I don't know that there is necessarily a moral compass in that movie. And that movie has a very strong, female villain that we are kind of forgetting about. The stepmother in that movie was bad business. Mother Gothel, was it?
Yeah, definitely.
The Dorian Gray character.
I'd say there's kind of an exception maybe to that rule, Danny, is maybe Zootopia. Because both characters both have very horrible sort of viewpoints about different groups of people.
About each other to begin
right.
with.
And, because he thinks she's a dumb hick and she thinks he's a, horrible person because he's
Sly
a fox.
Yeah, he's a wily fox.
Fox?
She's a cute
Right.
dumb bunny.
Dumb bunny.
And so basically...
But one's a police officer and one's a con artist.
Who becomes a police officer?
becomes a cop. Yeah, I mean...
And they
but
don't get there without each other.
They both kind of redeem each other in that way.
Yeah.
I'm asking, is this
Yeah.
a conscious decision? I'm with you. Look, don't get me wrong. Disney does a great job of hedging its bets. But I'm saying overwhelmingly, is it just me or does it seem like they play it safe and the female is always going to be the more sympathetic, the more morally virtuous one of the two, and that she's the one who's the moral compass of the story? It's that. I mean, again, Frozen. What happens with Kristoff? I mean, Kristoff's trying to save Anna, and Anna's like...
Kristoff actually directs Anna straight back on the straight and narrow. I mean, she's ready to go off and make some really bad decisions, really poor decisions. I mean, he's the one... He's actually, I would say, more the moral compass of Frozen.
You see, I would disagree with that because I think the moral compass of Frozen is Anna trying to make Elsa. Like, I think Kristoff is almost like subsequential. It's Anna...
I'd say, just to support Amy's point, though, is he kind of calls her on some of the stuff that she does.
He does, yes.
And so there is a little bit of that, like, sort of, if we want to call it this, that sort of 90s sitcom breaking in terms of, the man is a boob and the girl's like, oh, you dumbass.
She's this omnipotent being.
Right. And
Well,
I
he
mean...
calls her on some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and he sort of directs
But
her. He's like, okay, I've got a solution for this problem. Your hair's turning white. I know people who might be able to fix it because I've seen it before. And then, when she's saying, oh, I met a guy today. We're going to get married. He's like, that's stupid.
But again, defending the point, though, Elsa says the exact same thing. Anna, you can't marry a man you just married. That's
She's
stupid.
definitely the model of good decision making there.
Right.
It's actually, I think, a good comparison of the Kristoff-Anna relationship and the Moana-Maui relationship because the roles are almost reversed. Kristoff grounds Anna enough to help her do what she needs to do. And in some ways, Moana grounds Maui to help him do what he needs to do so they can restore the heart.
I think you raise an interesting point, and I think it's a good point. But I also think if you look at it for how they started out, Kristoff starts off, he's in it for the money and the carrots. He wasn't in it because of love of Anna. And Maui's in it for the fame and the glory. He wasn't in it, necessarily for what's right. They come to these realizations. And why do they come to these realizations? Because of the women that they met lead them to these realizations. They were selfish people living out selfish lives up until a woman came along and taught them humanity.
So, Danny, if this is true, where do you think the pendulum swung? I've got
How far back?
What animated feature swung it back?
All right.
That direction.
Or started the swing?
Okay. All right. Okay.
Count backwards.
That's a
I guess.
great
I've got an
question.
answer, and I want to see if it matches what you would say.
Go ahead, Lee. You go first. Cause honestly, I've never considered it until just now. So go ahead.
What about Beauty and the Beast?
I was going to say the same thing. I think it started it.
That was my question. Where did it start?
But then again,
And that's
you
what
could
I was-
say Hercules, he's the moral center, and Megara's kind of the sly, scheming one, right?
Yeah, you can say the same thing about Hunchback. Hunchback's the moral center.
Yep.
And
Right.
okay.
So is the
No.
Princess and the Frog?
Ooh. There's another good one. Naveen's just this philanthropist. He's a lazy man, and Tiana is just this moralistic woman who just wants to start a restaurant.
Who's in it for herself?
Not necessarily for herself, because she's trying to carry on the tradition of her dad and her mom. She has
Maui's trying to carry out.
She wants to build a beignet empire.
Yeah, Maui's trying to carry out the will of the gods. I mean, motivations are so complicated. I mean, I asked the question: if your daughter was a son, what would you have to
We're
tell
getting
him
into
about
complicated
this movie?
territory here.
What would I what? I'm sorry.
Because I mean, as
That
adults,
is
you
gender
can.
swapping. I'm confused.
As adults, we can parse out things, and we can, we understand them on a different level. Okay, we can have these conversations, and we can realize, yeah, maybe this is not the best, male empowerment movie. Not that, you guys need to be that empowered all the time.
We don't. I'm not saying that it's unfair.
No, we don't
Let me be clear.
I'm not,
saying it's unfair.
that you need ego stroking. Okay,
All right.
I'm not
We
saying.
need stroking.
I need stroking.
A stroke.
Sorry.
Okay, but if you, I think the real harm comes when there's a child, when you're bringing your son to see this movie and he can't identify with anybody. Would you have
Yeah.
a problem taking a son to this movie as opposed to a daughter?
I would have a hard time taking my son to see this movie because it would basically say you're a fractured human being that needs a woman's guidance to make you whole. Like I love taking my daughter to this movie because it teaches her how to be strong, follow her instincts, listen. What I didn't like about the movie, and let me just say this real quick, and I hate to go back because we're on a new discussion. What I didn't like about the movie is this idea that you can go to some cave, beat a drum, and your drum will tell you where you need to go in life. You need to.
It's worked for me.
Sometimes it's a leap in faith.
Right.
Okay, Eli, you've got a daughter.
Don't bring me into this.
Yeah, no,
You've
we're
been
here.
conspicuously quiet.
Yeah, I
I've
wanna
been
hear it.
listening though because I've been listening. I've been waiting for my time to say something. So
Now it's your time. It's your time.
my time.
So you've been waiting for Amy to talk to you. Okay, go ahead.
I don't compare it to the rest of the other movies, but I do agree that it has, like, once the movie was over, this is exactly what I thought. I swear. I was like, there are two old men that came out and they told you, please buy a movie. This was almost like an
gave you
advertisement
hope.
for erectile dysfunction. Seriously, think about it. All right, really, you want to be serious?
Waiting
Think
for the
about it.
bathtubs.
Think about it. They choked the chicken.
Cialis thing.
They choked the chicken?
They choked the chicken. Think about it. Hey, every time they went and he went in the water, what did they do? They
And
grabbed him by the throat. They choked the chicken.
His name is Hey Hey.
They hey.
So
So I
you're going
guess
to
in
tell your
Moana-
son
in
about
Moana
the
too,
chicken
yeah.
choking.
Hold on.
And
I'm
the
not-
chicken just aimlessly poking at anything that he
Think about it.
doesn't
In
even know what
Moana
it is.
too, they're
Really
gonna
like-
flog the dolphin.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Oh,
All right, you
God,
think
y'all.
I'm not done, and I'm gonna just say it. Men are definitely emasculated in this movie. Okay, think of this. Think of the symbolism. That's the approach I'm taking. Like you guys already talked about the characterization. There's nothing I can really cover in that, but the symbolization of it is this: Maui needs a big bone to do anything.
We still haven't
is
answered the
awesome.
question.
Hear me out.
Wait.
Hear me out. That's what
No,
I'm trying.
that's good. That
Hear
is
me
good.
out. Right.
How do we know he doesn't already have one?
Once Maui's bone
Bone
is
is broken,
one crack away
crooked.
from never working again.
He doesn't want to do it anymore.
Oh!
Thank you.
And the female gives him a bone
Dude.
again.
And the female has to fix his bone again. And after the women fixed him, it still goes to what you're saying. It's just the symbolism of it if you think about it. See?
All right.
Maui has the big bone. Everybody takes the bone from Maui. Once he fights to get it back, actually, he doesn't even get the bone back.
And he really
Moana has to trick the crab so Maui can get his bone back.
And then when he gets his
Dude,
bone
that's
back,
why I love you.
he's got trouble using his
That's what
bone
I'm
for a
like.
little while.
Huh?
Even when he
trouble
gets
using
his
his
bone
bone.
back, he has trouble using his bone.
See, now we on the trade. Thank you.
Me, Amy, and Eli are right here. Come on with us, Andy.
Okay,
Oh, my
here's
God.
the
No,
last
you're
one.
right. That is a friggin' meta. Dude, you nailed it.
Yeah, that's the symbolism.
You nailed it.
I'm
Guys.
telling
That
you.
is awesome.
And then think about this, right? Maui can't even get love right. Okay? Here's the island what'd you say he took the heart from? So the island, every time it sees Maui, it wants to kill him. Now, speaking as a guy that has been married before, I do know what that's like for a woman who wants to kill
Fire
you.
crotch wants to kill him,
Wants
right?
to kill you. No matter what he does, doesn't work, right? It takes Moana to go ahead, get the heart, and she's like, hey, water, open up so another woman can come to me so I can give her love because this man can't do it. And then the volcano runs. It runs to her, and she's like, here you go. And then it turns into Moana, basically, right? The
Big grassy Moana.
a big grassy Moana. And then Moana now is all Moana, grassy hill, Moana, whatever.
Grassy Hill Moana.
Yeah.
The grassy
Grassy
knoll.
knoll.
Grassy knoll Moana. She comes
Grassy
back.
Nolana.
She comes back and she basically like, hey, thank you, Moana. You fixed everything. Oh, by the way, Maui, here's your bone back. Get out.
It's
she
Tafiti.
gives him his
It's
manhood back.
defeated.
Thank you.
Tafiti,
You're
yeah.
right. She gives him his manhood back.
I
and,
mean-
and he's
Guys-
like, come on.
guys.
He's like, hey, wait. Wait. And she's like, Moana's like, shut up. She just gave you your
Shut
bone
up.
back. And he's like, he holds it up. He's like, thank you for the honor of giving me my manhood back.
Dude, you're a genius.
Eli,
You're right.
Eli, I went from being like kind of so-so on parts of this movie, and I apologize to whoever has to edit this, but now
That's
I hate
me.
this movie.
Okay,
Dude, all right,
Nah.
speak to it, Andy.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now
I'm
I
done.
hate
I'm
this
done.
movie.
I'm sorry.
that's it.
Elaborate. Why did you hate this movie now?
That whole point just kind of blew my mind. A little
Thank you.
bit.
Thank you.
I did not catch that sort of symbolism at
Dude, I've
all.
been sitting
And now,
on
now,
that.
now he says it, and I'm like, oh my God, he's completely right.
We did not plan that either.
It's like,
So, yeah.
wow. I don't know. I mean, beyond all that craziness, it is something that it's this trope that Disney's kind of falling on in a way, because there's a lot of movies where that happens. I love WreckIt Ralph, but I can't deny that that's definitely present there. And especially in that movie, there's not a whole lot of redeeming of Ralph that he does to Vanellope, right? He doesn't
Right.
make her better really at all.
Not at all.
So she's kind of great from the beginning, and
Exactly.
she sort of redeems him. As opposed to Zootopia, where the two characters sort of redeem one another, where they both have these horrible worldviews, and they both kind of figure out, hey, we're both kind of racist. Let's not do that anymore.
Everyone's a little bit racist.
Yeah, it happens.
Everyone's a little bit racist.
Let's all go back to the
That's
zoo.
true.
Hey.
But there's not. That one's tough because this is sort of the same one, because what does he really redeem in Moana? She sort
Nothing.
of brings him down to earth, and she sort of makes him better, and I guess deifies him and makes him to where he's like, hey, I'm a bird, I'm gonna fly around, help the people out.
Yeah.
He teaches her to sail.
And
He does.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, if her dad would have gotten up off his ass,
That's
he could have
true.
taught her how to sail too.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
You're right.
I mean, that just raised a whole new problem with the movie for me. That
Thank
that
you.
it's just one big boner analogy.
It is.
Because
But-
the old dudes, they made it.
I mean, originally my problem with it was like, their relationship doesn't make sense. Why did he come back? She was doing just fine, and then all of a sudden he shows back up. It's like, where'd he come from?
All right, Kevin, you got to go next.
All right.
And then Lee as having sons and daughters. Then you go. Okay, Kevin, you've got 3 daughters.
I do.
Okay, 3
what-
daughters, Kevin. What do you
So
think?
repose the question to me, because
The question is this. The question is,
what am I answering here?
what you're answering here is that is Moana a little bit sexist? Is it the job of a woman? Now, in looking at the Moana movie and a lot of the movies that Disney Animation has done in the past.
Pretty much everyone except Big Hero 6.
Pretty much everyone except yes. Thank you.
Because it technically is let's say less empowering for your son. Maybe it teaches the wrong message about self-worth and finding purpose and things like that, I guess.
Bones.
So crooked bones too, if you think about it. I don't want to throw that at you either, but
now Eli's son, all you got to do to get a bone.
Crooked bones. Yeah. So is let's see. Do we allow the movies to teach our kids?
Whether we allow them or not, they do.
Are the kids thinking about that? Do they give two inklings of that? Are they picking out those details as we're picking them? Are they going that deep? That's what I want to know.
I think that it reinforces beliefs that your child has within it. So if you see something to where so
the child has it within it. It's born within itself to have those thinking, and it's just reinforcing what they have in their head already.
I think there's a sense in a child to be able to go ahead and identify with.
A child has to connect.
Yes, thank you. You have to connect, and you connect to that which you know. Girls side with girls, boys side with boys.
I mean, in this particular case, I'm not arguing against your points. I mean, based upon what you said, it does definitely seem like that. Do I think my child would read into that as much? Probably not.
No.
It may influence them, yes, but I hope to, number one, I hope that I raise them to be good kids. Number two, I hope I raise them to critically think things through eventually.
I'm not saying that your kid would critically think into it.
Well, not right now, but hopefully if they see it in the future. And to be fair, I really don't think about I don't think about this stuff on this deep of a level regarding Disney movies. So I see it purely as entertainment, but it is interesting and kind of fun to talk about.
Do you necessarily look at this message and not see that there is a overwhelming effort to maybe self-correct a message that has been put out for the longest time that girls need a prince to save them? I think you're seeing the opposite. I think the pendulum has swung back the other way, and that men are being taught you need a princess to save you.
Well, I'm always about yin and yang. So in the big picture of things, if that was the case, then sure, absolutely, I could see this as Disney balancing out what they've done before. Because there has to be a balance. There has to be balance in the force.
Or it has to be politically correct, and you have to go ahead and maintain a good social awareness, because being a male chauvinist is not very popular in today's society.
Or unless you want to be president.
Wow, here comes Lee Lost.
There they go. There's Lee from last
Grab
show.
him by the Maui.
Out the gate. Grab him by the Maui.
Can I tell you something? Time out, because we all should take a step backwards. Because I have a girl. Eli has a girl. Kevin has 3 girls. Andy and Amy, y'all are waiting y'all first child. Not currently, but
0
in the future.
We have a male cat.
We have
He gives 0 shits about any of this.
0 We have an individual on the line that has a unique perspective of having both a male and female child, Mr. Lee Lostovica. Lee, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts.
Not only that, but older children too. They're both teenagers, so.
Okay.
So they're less of a blank slate than mine are.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they've already, been influenced for that. So let's say that Danny's right, that not necessarily Disney, but society is trying to teach that men are idiots and that women are the only reason that men are not setting themselves on fire every day. So let's say that this theory is true. Is it necessarily a bad thing? Think about all the stupid crap that men do, the wars and the profiteering and, all this stuff that maybe women are not prone to do. Is it necessarily look at maybe yourself even and think about what an idiot you were before you met your wife and the stupid crap you used to do. So is it necessarily a bad thing? I don't know. I'm not saying it is or isn't.
None of us are. I think you're arguing a point that none of us are making. Yeah, I'm not saying that men don't need women and that women don't need men. We're not saying that. We're saying is Disney going out of its way to self-correct, to make right on a message that they've maybe incorrectly delivered for a few years now.
Sure. Are they doing it? Probably. Yeah, I would agree with that. Is it necessarily a bad thing? No.
Okay.
And
I'm
that's the
fine with
way
that
I
answer.
would look at it.
You know, I think just from the broader view, I'd like to see him get away from this kind of two main character trope that they're kind of going with. I'd like to see him break off from that. You know, I'm interested in a movie that's in the vein of Hercules, sort of the Adventures of Maui, sort
I
of
agree.
going around like with his sort of exploits, him raising islands, him going and finding treasures, his face off with other deities, maybe. Those kind of things. I'd be interested in seeing that. Just sort of a good old-fashioned, you know, sort of like Hercules, you know, let's watch this dude do these feats. Let's watch him take out this Hydra. Let's watch him fight the Titans. Those kind of things. I'd like to see maybe that direction with it. I think with this movie, the partner thing felt way too forced at the end because I don't feel like they had a natural relationship, and I don't understand why he came back.
I agree.
What made him come back?
Timon and Pumbaa.
He talked to Mufasa.
Yeah, Mufasa came out of the clouds and said, "Go back, go back."
Hey, can I say one thing about the feminism and the taking your son to a movie before we get off of that completely?
Yeah.
Okay. So after listening to the discussion we have, which I believe has been a very fruitful one, it's been very
so.
deep.
I think so.
I think we've got some good theories working here. I mean, they're theories. They need, they need work and time and perspective.
I'd love to hear the feedback on that.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had a son, I don't think I would have a problem taking him to see this movie for a few reasons. I do think that movies can influence children, but of course, there's no substitute for parenting. Absolutely no substitute for parenting. If you parent the right way, they're going to see the messages and they're going to hear the ones that you try to put in front of them before those presented by entertainment. And I think it's good for kids to think critically. So if I had a son, I'd take him to see this movie.
It's a fun movie.
Absolutely. But these relationships, they do exist.
Yes.
Those relationships where, and you don't have to make it male and female specific, though you can, because those relationships really do exist where one
That's
person,
what they lean heavily on.
feeds another, one person stabilizes another, both of you lifting each other up to both reach your potential. That relationship exists, and especially the one between a man and a woman. I mean, that's propelled history forward for
Numerous times.
hundreds of years.
And by the way, there is nothing wrong with the message that men need women and women need men and vice versa.
So long as it is not the only message that you receive from this movie, and so long as you try to frame it from a more gender neutral way. And if that person that lifts you up is a woman and you're a dude, there's nothing bad that can come of that unless you fixate.
And to be clear, I think you have to dig pretty deep to see that message, because we had to dig pretty deep in order to get to that point. I think, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, follow your heart. There's a calling that everyone has. They're going to take that from this movie as opposed to anything else, probably.
So as long as a son of mine comes away from this movie and doesn't have the understanding that,
I'm just going to find a woman.
I'm just going to find a woman and she's going to help me become the person I'm supposed to be.
Right.
I'm cool with it.
Exactly.
I'm cool with it.
Thank you.